Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
I'm not usually a hat fan, but wow.
Jeg vil ikke være en dagger.
I'm really sipping on that dumb bitch juice today, and
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that. But you will never stop being a jerk.
All chocolate cakes are good. You're a fascist.
it's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home. Angry white boy, let's go! Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The stranger rolling into town to shake everything up. That's Chad Eckowitz.
And that's Simone LaRue. And this week, we have a fantastic special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dana Bowman.
Hi! Hey! Dana!
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show.
I think you might be our most impressive guest so far.
Yes,
my
I think David Alt is going to be furious now that we've got someone
God,
slightly
he's gonna be
famous, more
fuming.
famous than him.
I feel
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of sad, y'all. But okay, I'll take it.
He can
And
handle
that's
it.
sad
He's
for
a
our
big
tiny little
boy.
podcast. We love
We
the
love
fact
it.
that like when we got the email from you that you said when you said you wanted to be on the podcast, I was just like, but why? Is this you want to catfish us? Is this
Did
what's
she
happening?
email the right people?
No,
Is
I
this-
have to tell you, I live in a house full of completely culturally illiterate. Well, I have a 10 and 11-year-old, so they don't count because they're just 10
Yeah.
and 11.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
the dude that I married, bless his heart, I'm a total like I wanted to be a movie major.
Yeah.
And so I'll try to talk to him about, like the symbolism or something.
Yeah.
And he just starts blinking. And his idea of good film is like Thor. Like to him, he loved that movie so much.
It's a fun movie.
But he was talking about the acting in it. Like that was the thing. And I was like, oh. And he hasn't seen any of the Godfather trilogy. I was
Wow,
like, that's
okay.
grounds for separation in my mind. But I was like, I'm stuck. I'm already married. So anyhow, I have no one to talk movies with.
Right.
So now I have you two.
Goodness me,
Oh,
that's
I'm
so wonderful.
glad.
Well, I mean,
Yep.
that begs the question: what's your favorite movie then?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you can't. That's a really
Yeah.
hard question.
That's a very tough question.
There's
I always do
different
that.
what we like to ask
genres.
is like, what's your like number one like comfort movie?
Yeah, that's a
Okay,
better
well,
way.
I have one that's cheesy-ish, and then I have one that's not. I have Cinema Paradiso, which is probably my favorite
Mhm.
movie of all time, and then I
Nice.
have, it's just oh god, what's the movie Tuscany? Under the Tuscan Sun,
Oh, that
Oh,
is
yeah.
a
which
classic. That's
actually
Diane
prompted
Lane, right?
me. Like I have never done this before, but I watched that movie back when I was single, and I was like, I'm going to Europe, and so I actually watched the movie and went to Europe
That's
in the
amazing.
Oh,
same.
wonderful.
Yeah, so it's a comfort movie for me. I adore
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
it's
that's so
such
lovely.
a beautiful movie.
And
I
then
mean,
any John Hughes, like give me a John Hughes movie, because those are my people, that's my time. And I watch them and go, oh, I love
Oh.
it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
the hair
Yeah.
used to be so big.
The bangs.
The bangs.
I love
So,
it.
yeah.
Everybody just walked around looking like something had like exploded in their face. It's my favorite.
And on their shoulders too.
Yeah.
Lots of like everything.
Yeah,
was
huge
just kinda
padding,
big.
massive,
big.
massive padding. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was beautiful. What a time to be alive. And I mean, that's probably why the ozone was in such a bad shape because of
I
just the
know.
amount
So
of
the-
like aerosol in the air. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Well-
that was good stuff.
Well, Dana messaged us, dear listeners, and she came up with this brilliant idea for a theme
Yes.
for the podcast, which is significant others and the films that they make us watch that we hate. Now, as I make it abundantly clear every week, I am still single. That's for all of our single listeners out there. Hit a boy up.
Aw.
Ladies.
And that's the exact sound that every one of our guests makes, is what Dana just did.
Aw.
So since I didn't have a significant other, we got Dana on because it was also her idea, and obviously Simone is with her wonderful, wonderful boyfriend, Rudy. So they have chosen the movies. So Dana, what movie are we doing for you this week? What movie does your husband make you watch?
Roadhouse.
You know, it could be worse. Like I was
Yeah, it could
fully
be your
expecting to
film.
not enjoy it.
Well,
And
I
I
was
still
gonna
like,
say it could be your
Yeah.
movie. That sucker was amazing.
Yeah, that was-
Yeah.
that was-
Simone, your
that was
movie is
rough.
terrible. What movie does Rudy make you watch?
So, like I said, he just picked this specifically to make me suffer.
Yeah, that's real mean.
Because that's true love. And he picked Grandma's Boy, which is a movie that he watched at an inappropriately young age and has
Mhm.
just stuck with him I think like a lot of us with Adam Sandler movies. And yeah, it's definitely a movie.
Yeah.
I had never even heard of it, which to me was like, that shows you. Like, I was like, what is this movie? And then I looked it up and we watched a bit of it. And I was like, that sucks so bad. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I get it.
I think Rudy wanted to damage Simone, but he maybe didn't really think of the repercussions in damaging you and I, Dana, because we suffered through this. I mean, I've seen this film before and I hated it, and having to rewatch it now again, it's a bad omen when this comes back into your life again.
See, well, and I've never met Rudy, and I have absolutely no respect for him now. In fact, I'm almost a little angry at him, and I don't even know him. So Rudy,
I promise, he is a lovely man. He just
well, and
he had a
such
troubled
nice
childhood,
name.
clearly.
Clearly. But
He has a
we'll
nice
forgive
name.
him.
I
there
think
you
so.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since you're our guest today, Dana, we will ask you, which movie do you want to go first? Do you want to get Roadhouse out the way, or would you just like to plow through Grandma's Boy and then just finish off nicely with Roadhouse with a little bit of kicking?
Go ahead. Well, no, let's do mine, because I just want to make sure I do it right and get it over with, and because I'm nervous. Like first of all, it's been so long since I've been on a podcast with anybody. Like, my job entails speaking and being on podcasts and being interviewed, and this is the year of like dead silence.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm a little nervous this morning.
This is
so I'm
low
gonna
pressure.
do this. Let's do this.
Let's do this. I mean, if anything, you're in the power position because, you know, this might be our podcast, but you're our most famous guest. So you know, this is us
This is
being
gonna
like,
make or break us.
Yeah, this is it.
Oh
now.
my
You're the
gosh,
turning
you're gonna
point.
get like 6 new people to listen to it after I'm on. Maybe.
And
There
we'll
you
love
go.
every single one of them.
At least we'll now have 6 listeners, so that's really impressive. So
Always good. Okay. All right. So how do we begin? I don't remember. Do I tell you the plot? Because I have the plot.
I think Chad's got a synopsis ready to go.
I've got the synopsis ready. Don't worry. This is the easy bit for you. But it's just come up and told me that we've got 10 minutes left until we have to go and start and finish this meeting because I've only got the 40-minute Zoom and I love it.
No.
So it's fine. So what will happen is in
Okay.
10 minutes time, or like when it gets to about 30 seconds before this meeting shuts down, we'll just stop talking. So we have like a good place to stop, then give it like a minute and then come back into the same meeting room again.
Yeah,
and then
he'll
we just
invite
pick up
you.
from where we left off. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So here we go. Roadhouse.
And don't
Kicking
stop recording
our-
in between. Just leave it recording the whole
Just
time.
Do it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got it.
Or else we have to line up the audios again and
Oh
Okay.
gosh, yeah. Okay. Roadhouse. Let's do this. Dalton, played by Patrick Swayze, is a bouncer, but he isn't just any ordinary bouncer. He's the best bouncer in the entire of the US of A. One day, he gets an offer to go to work at a new club, the Double Juices, for the owner, Tillman, played by Kevin Tife. This club is a proper dive. People are getting into bad fights every night. There are drugs being sold on the premises, and the live acts have to perform behind a wire cage for their protection. Because the new paycheck will be insane, Dalton agrees to bounce for Tillman. On arrival, Dalton immediately makes some enemies. He starts firing people left and right for stealing, selling drugs, being of the wrong temperament, to be a bouncer. People are pissed, but Tillman has given Dalton carte blanche to do whatever he needs to do in order to clean up the club so that Tillman can redesign it and bring in some better clientele. This becomes a real problem for Dalton when he fires Pat McGurn, played by John Doe. See, Pat is the nephew of Brad Wesley, played by Ben Gazzara, who is the richest man in the town. Brad basically built the town by buying plots of land and then renting them out to local businesses under nefarious terms, such as skimming 10% off of the profits, for example. Brad also has this really scary bodyguard, Jimmy, played by Marshall R. Teague, who goes around and bullies all of the business owners to make sure they pay up, destroying their stores if they don't. So when Dalton fires Pat, Brad takes this personally and comes for Dalton. The rest of the film is basically Brad taking everything that Dalton loves and admires about this town and crushing it into dust. In the meantime, Dalton is falling for Doc, played by Kelly Lynch. As the name suggests, she's a doctor, and the two met after Dalton got slashed by a knife in a bar fight. They go on some dates, have sex, start a relationship. They seem pretty happy. Little does Dalton know that this further exacerbates things with Brad because years ago, Brad wanted to date Doc, but Doc ran away, making Brad furious because he always gets what he wants. Things come to a head when Brad starts to blow up the homes and businesses of the townspeople and tells Doc that if Dalton doesn't leave town, he'll kill him and everyone he loves. All of this truly enrages Dalton, and so he goes on a retribution spree. But this only makes things worse, and when Dalton's bouncing friend from the old days, Wade Garrett, played by the amazing Sam Elliott, rolls into town, Brad has him killed. Dalton says F this and kills Jimmy and a bunch of Brad's other goons. In the final fight scene between Dalton and Brad, Dalton is about to strike him dead by ripping out his throat, which turns out to be Dalton's signature move, but stops. As he walks away, Brad grabs a gun and is about to shoot him. That's when all the business owners from the town emerge and shoot Brad multiple times. But when the police arrive, they all deny it, that they saw anything. Dalton and Doc then ride off into the sunset. The end.
The end. Don't worry, we can mute all of that out. It's okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry.
There,
No,
you just highlight it, press mute, and it's done.
It literally takes a second, so you needn't worry.
Okay, that was a very good synopsis. Do you write your own, or do
We
you?
do,
Like...
yes, we do. To
That's
our shame.
very good. You're a
thank
good
you.
writer.
I just make it up on the spot usually.
Yeah,
'cause
Simone's
I
much
don't
better than I
prepare as
am.
much as Chad does.
Simone is
No, it
far
was a
better,
good
though.
synopsis.
Thank you.
Good job. Awesome.
Chad, what is your
what
cliffhanger? What is your clip from this movie?
I love
wanna
this
share?
movie so much, and it has to. There is no other clip it could be but this one, and it's the clip where Doc and Dalton meet for the first time. And the reason I've chosen this clip is because that's when I fell in love with Patrick Swayze. After that scene where he's all just being like really sexy and just being like, you know, one-word answers to Doc and all of her shit, I'm just like, you're an attractive man. Did you know that? Are you aware of how attractive you are?
He's really hot. Like, I
will give you
mean,
that.
there are a
His
few
shirt is
men
off
that
for,
can
like-
wear a mullet like that man can.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this and Ghost, I think, are his like quintessential films
I mean,
where you
Dirty
just fall in love with
Dancing.
him.
Yeah. Dirty Dancing, dude. Like.
Okay,
Nobody puts baby in.
Is he dating a minor in Dirty Dancing?
Yes.
Yes.
That is the creepiest. And to me, Dirty Dancing just has so many. You're like,
Yeah.
But again, it was the 80s, and in the 80s, you do what you want in film. You just do what
The more you
want.
think about Dirty Dancing, the more you're like, oh no, that's
Gosh, she was like 15.
yeah,
no
she's
big
like
deal.
an actual child. It's really fucked up, actually. But we're not
But
talking
she does learn
about
to
it.
dance really well.
She
You're right.
does
You're right.
Yes,
dance
and
so
that's the
well.
thing. She does dance really, really well. I mean, you could kind of get on her dad's side for it and
Coming
be
of
like, yeah,
age.
of course we're really,
Yeah.
really mad about this situation. But like you said, 80s, you could do whatever the hell you wanted in film
Yep.
in the 80s. I mean, it gave us Gremlins 2. So, you know, I mean, the best film of all time,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But
Oh boy.
Man.
so why,
Wow.
Dana, why do you dislike this film so much? This is your film, so let's honor your feelings
Okay.
about this. What is this film about to you?
Here's the deal. I really wanted to hate this movie because again, it's not in my mind what I believe is good cinema. And I'm a kind of a cinema snob. But there's a couple things that I loved about it. First of all, I do love Patrick Swayze, and he's a good guy and he's a nice guy. And I think Patrick Swayze was he's rest in peace. He died, and so we shall not speak ill of the dead. I'm not gonna
You can
bounce
if
on
you
his
want.
yeah, I'm not going to trash his acting or anything, although it was very monosyllabic in this movie.
Oh,
To
trash.
say he acted in this movie
let's
is already
let's look at the
quite
word
claim.
acting.
Spoke lines. There were one-word answers to everything. Everything was a one-word and usually one-syllable answer, and then there was just lots of staring. Like everybody just
Very
stared
bad
at each
staring,
other.
yeah.
Oh, but I do love him. He had a couple moments in this movie. Like the whole reason my husband loves this movie is the be nice scene where
Oh, yeah?
he
That's great.
he comes to the Double Deuce and he's taking over and he's gonna make it all better. And it's such a like Little Rascals, like we're gonna put on a show and we're gonna fix this bar and it's all gonna be good. And then he gives the famous be nice. And I swear this is my husband. My husband's name is Brian. I think Brian like lives by this like creed of
It's a
Aw.
great
nice thing.
philosophy.
So it is a great theory. And he says, just to the bouncers, because initially the bouncers are just beating the crap out of everybody at every moment they had. And he's like, no, we're going to be nice. We're going to be cool. We're going to chill. We're going to treat everyone with kindness until I tell you not to. Foreshadowing. And so the Be Nice scene is like one of my favorites. And honestly, I love Sam Elliott and his hair.
He's very sexy in this movie
Very,
too.
oh my goodness,
At the end, he had the little man bun. And I was like, if anybody can do a man bun, it's Sam Elliott.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know I was attracted to Sam Elliott until this movie.
That dance scene where he's dancing with Doc, you're just like, damn.
Everybody's attracted to Sam Elliott. And so, and he doesn't have to act. He just has to look at the camera and you just go, okay, whatever
Fair
you
enough,
say. So, there's good heart here and there's good potential for a lot of things. And I do have to say I love the hair and the 80s stuff. Everything I was watching, I'm like, oh, I remember acid wash jeans. I remember those. And I remember the big bangs. And I remember like the perfectly coiffed feathered thing that was going on with one of the dudes.
My favorite is the fact that there's the underwear that reaches your rib cage. It's just so
that's
high.
back in now too.
Yes,
no, it's not.
It's come full circle.
Mom jeans are back, which
I love mom jeans, so I'm really happy about that. But I mean, your jeans are high, your underwear can be high. Why not?
Just pull it on up, like right to here, and just go with it.
Let it cradle your stomach. It's real nice.
This makes me very sad. This news. I think I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna change my status from single to now just celibate. Just monk, monastery level monk, because I can't. I'm gonna wait for this trend to go out again. Because that is ridiculous.
I agree with you on that.
Let it wash over you, Chad.
No, I refuse it. I love this movie because there are very few mainstream movies that allow you to do a throat pull.
Yes.
And get away with it.
So cool.
That is spectacular. And I loved it.
This movie escalated very quickly for me because it just felt like initially you start watching it and you're like, oh, it's the bouncer with the heart of gold and he's going to come fix things. And then the next thing you know,
the best bouncer in America. I really want to emphasize.
Ranked.
Sorry.
But Sam Elliott is old now. He doesn't matter anymore.
Wade Garrett. Have you noticed that everyone in this movie also has first names? Like there's Wade, he has two first names for his name. Wade Garrett, Brad Wesley. Anyhow, that's a tangent. But there's a scene where like this tells me as I was watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all the murders in this movie. Like everybody just dies and the police never show up, and it's just really weird because there's this scene where they pull Dalton into the office at Double D's and he's being threatened by Brad's henchmen or whatever, and it's just all this like. It's just Dalton standing there and staring, which is what he does. He never talks. And then occasionally he'll just give like this really wise, like weary head shake, like, oh, you bad people. Oh, shame on you. And then this guy, one of the henchmen, pulls out a knife and it is like
that is the knife and a half.
Like it's huge. And I go, oh wow, like this is where things kind of start going south for me because I had forgotten about all of the murders. And I think, well, they must mean it. If you have a knife that big, like there's got to be some serious shit that's going to go down. And then the next thing you know, people are just dying left and right. And I kept thinking, my logical brain kept thinking, when do the police show up here? Like, is there any
this is a lawless land. This is great.
No. Yes,
no,
it is. It's the Wild West. I think that's yeah, I guess you're right. No police are called. Like in the end where the throat situation happens and the doctor is watching Elizabeth. She's very concerned.
I'm obsessed with this scene. The whole way the scene is set up is fantastic because he like fights the guy and you don't see what happened, right? Like the guy's just face down in the water. His doctor friend, she runs up. It's a wide shot of her running up. She pulls him over in the water.
This, like she's a horrible runner.
She turns the guy over. His throat is ripped out. She like looks at Dalton and then she runs off again.
Yes, like how could
and that's
you?
it.
Bad. And then she runs off in a huff. Like she's in a huff.
And,
It's
like,
not
you're
even
a doctor. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
There's no
she checks his
ambulance.
eyeballs. I remember she looks at his
yeah.
eyeballs. Like that's gonna tell you. And then she looks at Dalton like, how could you? And then she runs off in a house and no police are called. Like there's no follow
Like, yeah, this guy shows up to the morgue with his throat ripped out and no one says anything.
Shucks, you know, it was a tractor
It's just
accident.
it's those damn coyotes again. Damn coyotes back at it again. It's brilliant. It's fantastic because nowhere is it explained in the film really. Like even when him and Sam Elliott's character are like chatting about the fact that he murdered a dude at one point, they're just like at one point earlier in the film, someone goes, "Oh, I heard he ripped out a dude's throat once," and you're like, "Okay, but that could just be rumor." And then like in that scene, he just rips out a dude's throat.
I forgot.
Like,
oh, see, that was foreshadowing.
It was, but it was really bad foreshadowing because it could have been.
No, the moment I heard that line, I was like, someone's gonna get their throat ripped out.
What a way to go. And
what a way.
It was just truly like the next day, all you see is her walking off in a huff, which again, I'm sorry. If you go back and look at that scene where she's running, I was like, that's the worst running I have ever seen. I think they were trying to make it so that her boobs were like
bounced. Yeah. It's the 80s.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
So
she's a woman.
when she runs off in a huff, then I'm like, okay, ramifications, follow up, come on, people. And then the next scene is him walking into the bar that next morning and the phone rings and he just answered, hello, like it's just a normal day at work, you know. I'm here to work and I'm gonna get the phone for y'all. Like
every day at Roadhouse is just, you know, throat pulling and phone answering.
I guess. I don't know. And
so
I mean,
Dana, I don't know about you, but Simone and I have martial arts backgrounds, right? So Simone, let's talk about the martial arts quickly about this. Yeah. I want to see how you feel, Simone, about the martial arts of it all, the kicking of
the
it
whole
all.
movie.
Yeah, just a blanket. Let's just like talk about the martial arts, shall we? Okay. If you can call it that.
I mean, you know, it is about bar brawls. And the fights really do look like a bunch of dudes who watched movies about fighting and now they're trying to fight. And what I commented was they meet their match the moment that they have to fight someone who's been even mildly trained in martial arts. Yeah. Like the dude's like a yellow belt or an orange belt or something. And they're like, whoa, he's such a good fighter. It's like, yeah, he's had like 3 seconds of training as opposed to you like fighting drunk assholes for half your career. But I'm also not sold on the ripping the throat out being like the best technique for self-defense. Like it wastes a lot of time. You really can't just punch or elbow someone in the throat, guys. It accomplishes much the same, and then you know you don't look like a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, it is a real harsh move. Like I think it's probably like I would say it's foul play almost.
It also just requires a lot of rage from a character that is otherwise very relaxed. Like I feel like ripping someone's throat out, like I don't know.
It's a lot of work.
It's kind of a red flag if you're in a relationship.
You know?
your boy can rip out throats and
and I mean when he gets really mad, back together with him later.
It's great because he can do this. Like it's a really precise move as well. Like going for the throat is really precise, but his kicks are just so unbelievably childish in just like the fashion and just so dangerous for his own knees. Like it's spectacular. The fact that he can just like knock any weapon out of anyone's hand with a single kick.
At any moment.
Oh, that's a classic knife disarm, right? Just kicking a high kick.
There you go. Beautiful.
A defensible position.
Dancerly, so you know he's using his dancer chops.
Yeah, exactly.
Pointed toes at times. I saw some pointed toes, some extensions, and it was very poetic. I think they even did slow-mo shots at times where he would do the out, and it was slow motion, and you're like, the hair is still.
It did not move. It does not move.
The little curl right here. Like Chad could do it. Chad, you could do that hair.
You totally could.
I should have for this episode. I should have for this episode. It needs to go high and it needs to
go
like
high and then have a little lock.
Down.
Yes,
high
almost.
There we go. Look at him. He's so handsome.
throat pulls. For all of our normal like listeners, they're gonna just be like, well, this was fucking boring that last 10 seconds. For our YouTube listeners, they're gonna love it.
Yeah.
So what we like to do, Dana, is we like to do, as you're probably aware because you are a listener, is a scene that could have saved it. So just in case you haven't prepared one yet, I'll ask Simone first, and then we shall move to you, and then I shall go last. So Simone, scene that could have saved it.
So the interesting thing for me about this movie is that Brad is the bad guy.
Yeah, Brad Wesley.
Yeah, of course. His name's Brad. Brad Wesley.
Wesley.
He he doesn't do anything that like he wouldn't be able to do as like a standard business owner. Like it's very normal to move to a new town and buy up properties and rent out those properties to businesses or invest in new businesses and then get a cut of those businesses back as part of your investment. Like that's very standard. The only thing that makes him like a bad guy, like legally, is that he threatens people for them to pay their stuff, even though like a contract would serve.
Yeah,
just
it could
fine.
be enforceable. Yeah, especially because he's got the judge in his pocket.
Yeah, I think they need to like lean into it, right? And just make this just an indictment on capitalism and how it keeps small businesses down while large corporations just get their wallets fatter and fatter. And you know, he's got a philosophy degree that's established.
Yes.
So what if like he's just taking down the man, you know?
I
like,
love it.
It's low key. I mean, it was the 80s, so they couldn't like
yeah, capitalism was still fine then. Yeah.
Wow.
It would be great.
I just you know, lean into it. They were mad at him for being a capitalist.
I would love that so much. Just like on his bookshelf, there's just Didiak and Slavoj Žižek's Violence, and he's just reading these like fucking modern philosophers, and it's just beautiful about anti-capitalism. Karl Marx's manifesto is there
Marx
too.
Is up there.
Just great.
Yeah. You guys took a really much more deep spin on this than I was going to.
No, it's fine. Sometimes the scene that could have saved it is literally like, oh, I wish that the dog had lived or something. Like,
Yeah,
it's really...
I mean, the Dane Cook one was literally like woman autonomy. That's what we wanted from this film.
Yeah.
So what is your scene that could have saved it then, Dana?
Well, that's the point I was going to make. Is the scene that could have saved it for me is at the beginning where the guy offered him the job and he just said no.
And then that's the film.
I don't know. I know that's not fair. Oh, I felt like there were points where it had a moment. Like I'll go back to the be nice part, and we probably could have stuck with that. I'm just like, I'm the mom here, so like for me, if you could have stuck with the be nice thing and then just not killed anybody.
Make it a teachable moment.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a teachable moment. Kids, listen. And this is actually okay. So let me backtrack. Brian, my husband, is convinced that this is a movie of moral fiber. He like wants to show it to our kids and tell them like, I told him there's way too many boobs in it.
Yeah,
and
there are a lot of boobs.
Throat part too. I think he forgets. Like you
gloss over.
Yeah.
He partied a lot when he was in college, so he doesn't have the best memory, and he just kind of like we are constantly watching movies like that. He's like, oh, that movie was great, and then we dial it up for the kids, and I'm like, holy crap,
boobs.
What is this? We forget boobs everywhere.
Yeah.
So he insists though that scene is like, what, we should use that as like our family motto or something. And so for me, I'll stick with the be nice scene and then just say, couldn't we just make the rest of the movie not a straight up like everybody dies? Like it just goes really Rambo and
that's true. I feel like it doesn't really stick with the message.
Well, no, this kind of gives away the ending, but like he snaps. Dalton obviously snaps. Like when you rip someone's throat out. And I think
you're not thinking logically.
I was trying to figure out why he snapped. Like, what's the point? And I think it's because he now is deeply in love with Elizabeth after like having sex with her one time. And so now fast, like that scene itself had so many issues.
It was all the passion and none of the foreplay.
Against the brick wall, like
this like rocking cobblestone wall.
That was my favorite. That was maybe my favorite thing about it as well, because they approached that wall so slowly, so it wasn't romantic or passionate at all. It was just sort of like, oh, I really don't want to fucking do this, but we have to. Oh,
and I'm gonna have sex with you against a hard, cold wall. And I kept thinking, like, her back is gonna hurt. Like,
that's a
all
cheese
I
grater.
could think
That's a
about
cheese grater.
was he's got this beautiful apartment like on the water, and these beautiful big barn doors open. The mosquitoes on a summer night.
Did you kind of think that apartment too was a bit like, here we have Emmett, the farm dude that owns this house.
It's a very nice
Emmett's
apartment.
got like a beard, and he's got like, he looks like it's a hillbilly, and he comes out and he's, you know, feeding the sheep or whatever he's doing, and then he's like, well, I've got this apartment up in the barn. The apartment is like something from Architectural Digest. It's like the most beautiful thing I've ever
Emmett is wasted as a farmer. He could be an interior designer.
He is. He's like an interior designer. I'm like, Emmett has skills.
This apartment is beautiful. They should have screened in the window though.
It is really funny because Emmett's just like, oh, 2 people have already come by and they turned it down. And it's like, but why? What the fuck? That place is amazing.
Deal.
But actually, the screened-in windows wouldn't work because there is that one scene where Dalton just jumps out the window and does like a tuck and roll on top of the car.
I think that's an even better reason to screen it in, frankly. People should not be jumping out of the window or making love on the roof of the porch as well.
Right,
that happens.
Simone,
I'd be so upset if I rented out my beautiful apartment to someone and they're just like banging on the porch right above me.
Be able to not worry about screens.
Yeah, just keep it down, and I don't want to see it.
But anyhow, I was gonna back to my initial thought because I always do this. I do tangents. So Dalton snaps because he supposedly, I guess, loves this woman now and wants to fix the town, and he's regained his. I don't know. They almost make it like good that he's decided to get mad and kill people. You know, he's accessing his inner Rambo rage thing, and that's whatever. That's good. So, because the bad guys in this movie are so bad that they deserve to be blown to smithereens in the house. In Brad's house. So then he goes and he kills all these men, and then he gets to Brad and he has the moment, and then he's like, oh no, like I shouldn't do this.
Mercy.
I'm a good guy.
This is, I think, like a Batman thing as well, right? Like Batman also like always takes out all the henchmen, and then he's like, "Oh, if I kill the bad guy, it says something about me." And the henchmen are like,
then he rolls it back in and decides now is the time for him to be like a nice guy again. So all of a sudden he's not snapping; he's covered in blood, and he's like, "Oh, let's be kind." And it just makes no sense. There's a lot about this movie that makes very little sense, but which
goes into my scene that could have saved it perfectly. Because basically I just want a background on Dalton. The fact, like, you know, there's the one scene with Wade where he's just like, oh, that guy had a gun pointed at your face. I want to see that scene. I want to see him rip out a dude's throat, the original throat rip. You know, the first time he does it and he goes, oh my God, how the fuck did I do that? Yeah, exactly.
Flashback. We need
like
a flashback,
a PTSD thing, like someone's wearing like the same shirt as the guy, or like someone points a gun at him and it's the same gun, and we get a nice flashback and his hair's even higher because it's the 70s and not the 80s. And it's just a great scene where, you know, Sam Elliott's even younger and even hotter, and we all fall in love with him yet again.
Don't tease me.
But yeah, Sam. I think that would have been a really good explanation for why he is this way, and sort of makes the end redemption scene where he doesn't kill Brad even better, because it's sort of like, oh yeah, he's learned his lesson and everything. But so that would be it.
A bit of a hole there. There was an opportunity in the diner to really fix it.
Exactly. So,
but it tells you like he is a little bit psycho, because like even when he's in the hospital with Doc and he's getting stitches and she's like, I'm gonna give you the anesthetic. I thought, for me, like, he never drinks in the movie, so I always think maybe he's sober, because he tells her, he's like, I don't need anesthetic. Pain don't hurt. Pain don't hurt. That's famous line.
Maybe.
And she staples him like with nothing. And then I'm like, well, there's a reason for that, right? Like he's got to have some backstory. No, he just likes pain. Like that.
I was gonna say it's his kink. I was ready for him. Like she staples him, and I'm ready for him to be like, "Thank you, mummy," and you know, just really get into his kink. And she's just like, "Wow, you have a full blown erection from that staple."
There's nothing. There's no explanation. Like, I just like to be stapled with no anesthetic whatsoever because I'm psychotic and actually kind of on borderline psycho
he's a king.
killer dude.
He loves it.
But you know, whatever. He's cute and he's got good hair, and she's.
You know, I think we're thinking too hard about it. We're thinking harder than the people
Yeah.
who wrote the script
Who
are
wrote this film.
necessarily thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I think we talked a little bit about like the lines. Like I've got one like there's, I think I told you about the one where he's about to kill the bad guy, the throat rip. And he
Mhm.
just says to him, "You're such an asshole." And I'm like, that's to me is that line's a little lacking for what's going on here, you guys.
I don't know. As a future lawyer, I would say that killing someone because they're an asshole and ripping their throat out, that's a pretty solid defense. I've heard of that before.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of criminals get
The
off if they
asshole
just call them an
defense? Okay.
asshole. Yeah, it's called the
Well,
asshole
I'm
defense.
gonna use you for my lawyer, I guess.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what we do to finish off the segment, as you're very aware, is we just say whether we would watch it again and whether we would recommend it. So Dana, I think I know your answer, but just for prosperity's sake, would you watch it again, and would you rather recommend people watch it?
I have to watch it again because my husband will want to, and at some point we have to show it to our children, evidently, because
Apparently.
it's like morally wonderful. And the other thing is, I have a theory that Roadhouse, I mean, this is back before we had streaming, but my theory was back when you had like television channels, was that either Roadhouse or Jaws, that's the other one, was always on some channel somewhere. It's always playing.
That makes sense.
So I will have to watch it again. Would I recommend it? I would recommend it if you just love Patrick Swayze, because
Nice.
you're right.
Yeah.
And Sam
Patrick
Elliott.
Swayze marathon.
You need to see it because you're right. He doesn't have a lot of movies to his name. I was trying to look up other movies. Like he's got Red Dawn, he's got Dirty Dancing and Ghost, but this is a classic. So
Yeah. Exactly. Simone, what are your thoughts
I
on
think
that?
I'd also recommend people check it out in terms of like it is a classic from the 80s. I think it really is a crystallized moment in time, in fashion, in who was hot, in hair, like in
earrings, cross earrings in your
exactly.
ear. Remember?
Yeah, all of that. Like I think it's a perfect little just snapshot of 1989, and it's fun. Like I had fun watching the movie. It's very silly,
Very
but
silly,
I
but
was very
wonderful.
entertained.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Okay, so this is the order that you watch them in, right? This is my plan.
Okay.
This is my
you've got
plan
it.
going forward.
Okay.
I've got this plan. Like this is my weekend. So you start with the most problematic movie, which is Dirty Dancing, because he's dating a 15-year-old.
Sure.
So you start with that. Okay, so what's happened, right? He's don't put baby in a corner. Cool. I've had the time of my life, had sex with an underage girl. Fantastic. Fuck it. I need to run away now. Oh, where does he run away to? To Roadhouse. He's now a vigilante. He becomes the world's best but a bouncer in the entire of the US. Amazing time, fantastic, rips a dude's throat out. Oh shit, his and Doc's relationship goes south. He has to leave now. Where does he go? New York. Who does he meet? Demi Moore, Ghost, and then he dies. That is how you watch these movies.
Okay.
That is
It's the trilogy.
It's the holy trilogy.
Arc.
It's the
Swayze-verse.
Swayze, the Swayze-verse trilogy. Yes, and that's how it's done. Yeah.
Wow, you really thought this through.
Beautiful. Yeah. That was stunning.
Namaste. So let's talk about something that's very unstunning. Simone, talk us through Grandma's Boy. Give us your synopsis. Good Lord.
Okay, Grandma's Boy, 2006.
That's
pretty
sad as
straightforward. So Alex, played by Alan Cover, he has a dream job. He's a beta tester for video games. He works with a bunch of nerds all day. He has a great time. Unfortunately, his asshole roommate uses all their rent money on a brothel, so he gets kicked out of his house. Luckily, his grandma Lily, played by the fantastic Doris Roberts, is like, hey, well, why don't you stay with me for a bit? After he bounces around his friends a couple times, he's like, oh yeah, I need to get out. So he moves in with his grandma and her roommates, Grace, played by Shirley Jones, and Bea, played by Shirley Knight. He at first has a bit of trouble adjusting. Obviously, they're old ladies, so it's all the stereotypes of they go to bed really early. There are very specific TV shows they like watching, and they expect him to help with chores when they wake up supremely early. But he actually realizes it's really fun to live with them, and he actually takes it in his stride very quickly. At work, at the same time, a new lady comes to the office to handle a new big project. Samantha, played by our favorite Linda Cardellini. She is there to make sure that the project runs smoothly. there are a lot of shenanigans with his colleagues. Samantha and him obviously fall in love. There's the like savant at the company, JP, played by Joel David Moore. He has a huge crush on Samantha, and he is furious that she likes Alex instead of him. So he steals. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I was just making sure I had the right actor. So he sees that Alex is working on a game of his own that's actually really, really good. He tells Alex he'll help him work on it, but actually steals the game for himself and takes credit for it. Alex has no way of proving that it's his game, and he's ready to quit his job forever. Fortunately, his grandma Lily had played the game, so she challenges JP to play her, and when she beats him, it proves that Alex designed the game somehow. And the end, he gets the girl, he gets the credit for designing the game, and he still has a really nice relationship with his grandma.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is your cliffhanger for this? Because some doozies, right?
So my cliffhanger for this is, I think, maybe my favorite scene, which is when his grandma brings him dinner for the first time, and she's just explaining all the different things.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so much there. It's like leftover lasagna and chicken and scrambled eggs, and there's pudding, and there's a glass, and
it's
like,
perfect.
Grandmas
That's
are the
why
best,
you have
man.
grandmas, right?
Yeah.
This is what grandmas are all about. Are you a feeder, Dana? Do you just like overfeed your kids? Just have the cobbler and the chicken and
oh my gosh, that was actually kind of sad, because that's how I feed my kids. I'm like, oh, leftovers.
Yes.
Okay, we have some tacos here and a little bit of, some mixed nuts.
That's how
like, here you
I
go.
feed myself.
And well, the leftover thing, I'm like, I'm the grandma in this scenario. I'm the grandma. I would totally do that, and I already do it now. So there you go.
there is nothing wrong
And
with
you're
that.
a treasure.
It's a frugal thing to do. It is the
Yeah.
sensible thing.
In my
Don't throw
opinion, the
away leftovers.
grandmas or the women, or the older women in this movie were what saved it. And
They're
I
so
kept
funny.
wondering if they were in it and going, what the hell am I doing? But they did great. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I must say the main granny, like the fact that she was on this and she's got Everybody Loves Raymond money, like she does not have to be doing this
No.
Nah,
thing.
she did it for fun.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
pretty insane in itself. I mean, yeah. So Simone, obviously this is your film. This is why. Why does Rudy? Did he explain himself at all?
I actually did. I didn't find this movie like as Adam Sandler-y as I thought it was gonna be. It's obviously his production company, Happy Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of the dialogue was actually pretty funny. Like there were a couple scenes where I was like, oh, that's actually really smart. I thought it was like
it's a good joke.
I laughed. I thought the dialogue was actually pretty snappy and well written. I would have actually really enjoyed the movie a lot more if not for the wild racism with that one character from Zimbabwe. I gasped out loud, like full on hand over my mouth when I saw that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
That was real bad. That was really, 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 really
2000s
bad.
for you. And I was a little amazed.
Like, approximating Kosa with the clicks, not trying. That was rough. I'm not gonna lie.
That's peak Adam Sandler. Yeah.
And the thing is, it was a real blight on a movie that I actually found pretty like charming. Like he's this guy who's living his best life. It's not his fault his roommate's an asshole. He's got a bunch of dumb friends. Like he could use better friends. But he meets a nice girl. He succeeds at his job. And he's not like the worst person ever. Like the worst thing he does, besides ignoring the blatant racism, the worst thing he does is like lie to his friends about how he's getting laid. And he pretty much comes clean immediately, right? Like he's like, oh yeah, I'm actually living with my grandma, but it's really fun. He's like never really mean to the grandmas, which is something I would have expected from Adam Sandler. He's like always pretty polite, even like when they ask him to do chores. So like it was nice to have a relatively likable main character.
He was kind of a nice guy. Like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Look, the bar, I think my bar was set really low for this.
Yes,
so
mine
it
too.
Okay.
exceeded my expectations. Linda Cardellini's adorable.
Oh, we
The
love her.
bad
and everything,
guy, the nerd guy who talks like a robot and calls her milady, like so funny. And
I
she
love that
handles him
scene.
so well.
Yeah. I love that scene where he's hiding outside of the office with like the coat and he's like trying to blend into the wall and he's just like hiding like that. Spectacular bit of acting that. But you see, for me, the main character, my issue with the main character and everything that he did, and it kept coming up in my mind with everything that he did. He's 36 years old. This is not the behavior of a 36-year-old man. What 36-year-old man cannot control himself enough not to masturbate at a friend's house and not masturbate to a doll?
I forgot about that scene.
That was
36.
That was where I kind of lost interest. and then I even asked my husband, I'm like, at 36, like that's how old Brian was when he married me. So 36. And we got married at 36 and 37. I'm like, would you do crap like that? And he's like, no, I'm too tired. Like,
Yes.
That's like something an 18 or 20 or 25.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
but it's just was creepy. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Very gross.
I feel like the role was written for a younger man, just based on his like shitty friends and where he is in his life. Like that's a dude who's 24.
And I kind of felt like they put that scene in. I don't remember when the Mary movie came out. What's it called? Something About Mary. I think they put that scene in to be like, let's be really crass. Like, because this is a dude movie and let's do a really crass scene. But then it didn't fit. Like, because it felt like, you're right.
The rest of the movie's pretty...
It's nice. And so we have this one, like, and it's supposed to be a scene. And then the rest of it just sort of was okay. But you're right. I really disliked that part.
Yeah,
kind of grossed
I have to
out.
say I did laugh, but I feel like it was more shock than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, really? But yeah, as my husband put it, he was like, I'm way too tired at 36 to do that.
No, to wake up in the middle of the night? Come on.
That's insanity. That's insane.
Like,
and yeah, I mean, I get that it's the early 2000s and stuff, but really is like the doll is your source of stimulus, if you will. That's a very strange source of stimulus. I mean, just use your brain, guy. Come on. I mean, I know
the imagination is the most powerful tool we have.
There you go.
I thought you were gonna say. I really thought you were gonna go in like a really nice PSA there and say the imagination is the ultimate aphrodisiac.
I mean, isn't it?
We could end up talking like I always love. This is again my reason why I love this podcast so much is. And I mentioned this to you in an email, is how we end up talking about these movies, and then the next thing you know, we're like discussing, moral relativism or Kierkegaard. Or what true relationships are all about. So yeah. But anyhow,
and I guess we should.
Sorry.
No, you go. You go.
Well, I just felt like this was very vanilla, and it was trying very hard to be.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it wasn't trying very hard. It was either gonna like that had that one gross masturbation scene, but then it was either that or it was just kind of vanilla. And it was very 2000s. There's always the asshole roommate. There's always the friend that's just a total jerk. And it kind of formulaic, but this is just it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, what
not the
what
worst
we all...
that the early 2000s had to offer.
No.
Yes, that's true. Oh, we have
by far.
We have done the doozies of the early 2000s. That's for sure. Hashtag Dane Cook. But yeah, like. How do we feel about the relationship between Linda Cardellini and the 36-year-old man who is still a programmer?
Again, this role was not written for.
Yeah,
but
I think you're right.
I thought she was cute. I thought that there was some cute chemistry there. They clearly have a bit of like banter back and forth. She's not like other girls. I actually really liked her character. Yeah. But I liked her character overall. I think she works in this very male-dominated environment.
Mm-hmm.
And she handles herself very well. Like she doesn't put anyone down, but she just also doesn't take any shit, which I thought was admirable. I liked her. I always like her though.
I liked her. I just didn't like the relationship. I thought it was very weird.
What did you think about the relationship?
I have no problem with the age gap. The age gap is absolutely fine. Like, love is love. And just, But it was just the fact that it was very, very forced. It was just sort of like, okay, well, you're a protagonist and you're a female protagonist. Like, it made no sense. It would have just been nice if they had become really cool friends. Like, don't end up with JP. That's fine. Like, you're obviously not interested in JP. But you're the only reason you're interested in this guy is because he's the protagonist of the movie. There is nothing else. And I think that is also, again, very Adam Sandler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why did they pick? Like, I tried to look the main character's name. I don't remember who it is. His name, his real name, but he doesn't even have a picture, an image that I could find.
Yeah, Alan Covert.
I don't know who he is. Like, why did they pick him?
I haven't seen him in anything else.
Yeah,
he's in 50 First Dates. He's in Little Nicky. He's in Jack and Jill. So he works with Adam Sandler a lot.
Oh, okay.
Is what I'm saying.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
I was about to say Adam Sandler. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If he was in Little Nicky, that's another mark against his name.
That's another movie.
Oh, I hate that movie. Ugh.
Chad, what is your scene that could have saved it?
Ooh, my scene that could have saved this one. So it has to be where basically, again, and this was my issue, is the protagonist just grows up. Like, he just is like, oh wait, hold on, I'm 36, I should have savings. This is insane that I don't have savings enough to just like get my own place. That's bonkers, especially with the great job that I have. Oh holy shit, am I wasting my life? Am I wasting my potential? And then it's a movie about him growing up, and it's beautiful. That would be the scene that could have saved it.
Because I think that was my criticism too, is there isn't really a character arc. Like, we come in and the character's already like pretty happy with himself. He says he quit his job as an accountant to become a beta tester for video games, and it's like his dream job, so he's very happy with that. He doesn't seem unhappy with his friends. All that happens in the movie is that he gets eyes on the video game he's been working on the side, and he gets a girlfriend. And he has a great relationship with his grandma. Like, there's no arc. There are no ups and downs for him. It's
kind of in the same place.
He's a little better off than where he started, and he doesn't learn anything. There's no growth. There's a kid in the background.
You had a kid in the background? Oh, crap.
You had a kid in the background. No, it's fine.
No, it was very cute. It was super, super cute.
I love her. She's great.
Stay out.
Perfect.
Oh God, never have children. Just don't ever do it. Just don't get married.
Very cute. I didn't mean to tattle on your kid.
No,
yes,
and
my
they
ultimate
know.
Snitch.
They are so bad. They know I'm doing this right now. But anyhow,
that was so lovely. That was perfect. I love that. That was brilliant.
Okay, you can take care of him.
No. So what's your scene that could have saved it?
Seriously, son, I'm on film. You gotta go. I'm getting the trash. Hi.
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 It's fine.
It's beautiful. This is what Zoom's all about. This is why we do these things. That was beautiful.
I am firing my child. Okay, sorry.
So, Dana, what's your scene that could have saved it?
Well, to me, again, I have to keep going back to the masturbation scene, because that's like the inner mom in me was like, this is not the inner mom. I am a mom. So I'm like, why did you put that in there? That is so dumb. Like, there was no reason. And you did the crafts. So if they had just taken that out and then done the rest of the movie, and then perhaps in some way, like, I don't have a specific scene, but I guess I just sort of wished for there to be more of either a depth in the relationship with the grandma or some sort of like a story there. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Like
they just sort of have a good relationship going in, and then it gets a little stronger by the end.
Like, I already love my grandma, and now I just keep loving her. Or the story with the girlfriend, but I think the grandma part to me would have been better.
Especially because it's called Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, she doesn't even give him like any wisdom. She doesn't give him any advice. Like, he's pretty much got stuff figured out. He just needs a place.
There's no like suspense or like any sort of
tension.
Tension. Thank you. That was the word. And I just felt like the grandma wasn't really developed. She was just a big old stereotype, but it was cute.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, that actress is just adorable. Like, I loved her in Everybody Loves Raymond. She was probably my favorite character, also because she reminds me of my Jewish grandmother. So I mean, Italian grandmothers and Jewish grandmothers are like so similar in that respect. Yeah. So would y'all watch this again, and would you recommend it, Simone?
I mean, like I said, I think it's probably one of Adam Sandler's better movies, or like one that I enjoyed more. I thought, like I said, it was very sweet. It was, a perfectly fine way to while away an hour. But like, I don't think you have to check it out. I don't think it's required viewing. It's fun. It's fine. If you want to, go for it, but don't go out of your way.
Yeah, good point. Good point. How about you, Dana?
Like if you're at the doctor's office and it's on there, you can watch it. But
Yeah.
other than that, I would say no, because I just have too many other things I want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a blip. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think I would
totally.
recommend it.
I am very sorry that you had to watch it for this podcast, but welcome to our world. This is what we have to go to.
Welcome to our world.
And also, I just want to say, if
okay.
my doctor is putting this in the waiting room,
Oh,
that is a
yeah.
doctor I am not going back to.
We're having a
Yeah,
discussion.
that's a little bit problematic.
Yeah. That's like the doctor, like the plastic surgeon from Good Luck Chuck. That's what he would have had in his thing. So absolutely.
Standard, and I did not like not living at it. So I'm just very grateful for the modern world and having running water, just being able to turn on the tap. There it is. Being able to flush the toilet regularly.
Yeah.
That's great. Being able to shower as often as I like to. So thanks, running water.
It is crazy. Like when you look back at our, like when you look back at our history, like it's crazy to think of living without running water. And no, definitely not a thing.
Smell alone.
No. And how about you, Dana? What are you grateful for this week? What's your gratitude?
I'm grateful that my kids are back in school because they just got out of remote learning. I don't have to have them around me all the time. I love my kids, but oh my gosh, that day that they finally got to go back to school, I was like, goodbye. Go be with.
Is this a good time to mention your blog and books on motherhood?
Yeah. Oh my word, this year has been. Oh, and my husband is, and works for Pfizer, so the vaccine is kind of So I'm like, my husband is saving the world.
That's so
that's so cool.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. That is a really
we were
good
all
gratitude.
hoping he'd get a big, huge raise for that, but no. So whatever, we'll just take the vaccine instead because it's not all about us, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what you could do is you could just steal a couple vials and then sell it on the black market, and then you'd make up that money.
Yeah,
that's the way
and
forward.
then constantly, I'm sure that wouldn't go south. And then constantly talk to about how my husband is saving the world. So we take what we can get.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That's lovely.
So
Mine is very, very simple this week. I woke up with a little bit of the sads this morning, so I decided to make myself some fried toast, and it was perfect.
Oh, nice.
And it was so delicious. I just put like a huge chunk of butter in the frying pan. I put that bread in, and put an egg on top of it, and it was just delicious. It was everything I needed, and the sads just went away, and it was perfect. And it's wonderful little bits of food like that are just perfect and everything you need.
I love a good eggy toast.
Oh yeah. What's your comfort food, Dana?
I would probably have to say that's one of my favorites. And I also love French toast, which is like, I make a really good French toast. Now I'm really hungry.
What's your secret?
Well, you have to use the right kind of bread. Like we have like a really thick egg challah bread here that I love. And then
Challah's perfect for
I also
French
make
toast.
bread. And if you make bread and then the next day use that bread for French toast, it's amazing.
That's the way forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds real good.
Lots of butter. The more butter, the better.
Yeah.
That's always the secret.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Simone, for next week, I already have an idea. Now, this again, I know it always worries you when this happens, but this isn't me necessarily. This was on our Discord. So this blame our Discord people if you want to. Don't blame me. Don't come after me. But next week, I'm thinking we could do Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, which I think is fair.
The Tim
It's
Burton
an Alice
ones.
week. Yes, the Tim Burton ones. Again,
cool.
Because it's the trilogy year and all bets are off, and we're just saying screw it to the usual format. Alice in Wonderland did get 51%, which I mean, it's close enough, right?
Yeah, that's on the cusp.
Yeah, and then Alice Through the Looking Glass got a very generous 29%. So I mean, an aggregate score of less than 50%. I feel like we can definitely do that, right?
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's very doable. That's not okay. I would, because last time you suggested something that was Dane Cook week, so I was a little, wary.
Yeah, you've
Tim
been
Burton
burned.
is a step up, that's for sure. Although I hated that movie so much.
I mean, they're not
I wasn't
great.
a fan of the Alice movies, but
no, they're not like the original. But
I'm gonna try.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, you're free now, Dana. You don't ever have to do it again.
Yeah.
It's the dream for you.
Yeah.
So Dana, just before we go, do you want to plug where can the people find you? Where can they
We'll
Yeah.
link to your
obviously
website
we'll-
and everything
yeah.
down below. But tell
Yes.
people your books, your blog, your upcoming podcast.
Oh my gosh, the podcasts are still like you're gonna get a podcast in like another year when I figure out technology. But I do have a website. It's called danabowmancreative.com. And then I also have Momsy Blog, which is a blog that I've written for years about parenting and motherhood and humor and
She's really
all that
funny, guys.
stuff.
It's
Yeah,
really good.
I'm funny. I was told I was a humorist, and as a writer, I was like, "That's the best compliment ever."
That's lovely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
And I
nice.
have a couple books about parenting and all that. But it's all on my website. So if you go to either the danabowman.com or creative, and that's also me on Instagram and all the socials.
Awesome.
Oh,
We'll link to
brilliant.
all of
Yeah.
those below as well, guys. So you can just click
Thanks.
on the stuff in the description.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And where can the
Yeah.
people talk to us if they want to talk to us and suggest more awful movies and good themes, Simone, who is now very upset by this new trend that we're going on.
Just letting the viewers take the reins, huh? Guess it was inevitable.
Exactly.
You
So
have
they
no-
can
you have
talk to
no
us on
control.
Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. They can come hang out with us on the Robots Radio Discord. There's always a fun chat happening there. People are really nice. Yeah. That's
There
it.
it is.
Stop suggesting terrible things that you know I'll hate.
Yeah, be kind to Simone, guys. This is the trilogy year. All bets are off, but that doesn't mean you have to be horrible to our one of our hosts. You know, I don't care about anything. I'm dead inside, so that's fine with me. I'll watch anything. But be nice to Simone, please. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And you
Dana?
have to say it too.
We love you, and there is nothing we can do about it.
Oh, that's really
Yay!
nice.
That was
Goodbye,
cute.
everyone.
That was a really good one.
Bye.
Bye. You don't have to hang up. You can just stop recording.